This ain't nothing like standing behind a pulpit and preaching, but the goal is the same. We hoping you have conviction. The gospel ain't changed, we just spreading it different, especially for this generation. This is our sermon. This is our sermon. Just when we thought the gospel did it all, you were wrong. This is our sermon. This is our sermon. May these words encourage you.
Welcome to each and every person. Jessica, I did not see you when you joined the live. What's good? What's going on? But welcome everybody. So Bible study is going to be a lot more different moving forward, especially due to the fact that we're in the building. We're not in the building, so it's going to be a lot more interactive. Right? It's going to be a lot more us speaking, you speaking back. You know what I mean? Somebody feels that they got something that they want to share, they want to talk to us about. They would go ahead and say it inside the comments, because we're gonna be paying attention to the comments and stuff like that. And even if you feel as if let me hop in on the camera, nah, I gotta say something. Let me come on this camera, because what you said just now, I don't agree with it. You feel me? Or I don't like it, or whatever. You feel me? So we'll be doing that. You feel me? So let's get into it. So we're in the month of February. In the month of February, as we all know, is for February 14th is Valentine's Day, and this month it celebrates love. And by it celebrating love, we felt as if that there's certain things that we can talk about on our lives. So today we'll be talking about singleness. Next week, Tuesday, we'll be talking about being young and in a relationship, in a godly relationship. And then the following Wednesday, 2 Wednesdays from now, God willing, we will be talking about being young and in a godly marriage. She said the best month. I don't know. February is kind of cool. It's all right. I don't think you can't brag about a month if it's the shortest month in the year. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. If you were great, I think they would have made sure that you had more days. That's just me. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get into it. You feel me? So we're talking about singleness, right? So singleness is not, Jenny, tell them, November all the way. Kevin, come on, November, yo, drop it, November, let them know, it's November all day. I don't, oh, come on, November all day. After that, bro, everybody, every other month the kid rocks. But let's talk about singleness, right? Singleness is not something that the Bible, talks about in a big vacuum. It's not something that the Bible says, like, in your singleness, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that, you're supposed to conduct yourself this way, you're supposed to act this way. Singleness is not something that is talked about in a large space in the Bible, but there's different areas that we can see that we can definitely relate these things to us, in us as believers, when it comes to us being single. So what happens is, we know how this world moves. This world pushes us to desire to be in a relationship, right? The world wants us to be in a relationship so bad. So, because the world wants us to be in a relationship so bad, we end up wanting to be in a relationship so bad, and we devalue singleness automatically. We make it, we ridicule singleness. We talk bad about people when they're single, because the whole time is like, yo, well, what's taking you so long to not be to be in a relationship? Get yourself in a relationship. Hurry up. You know what I mean? But we're going to, throughout the day, we've been getting questions all day about what we should talk about when it comes to singleness. And we got a lot of questions, people, but we are not going to be here talking about all these questions, okay? We picked out a few questions that we saw that we deemed was cool for us to talk about, and we're going to get right into it. I'm gonna ask you guys this question to open it up. This is the first question, and I just want some feedback from you guys. Let's see how you guys feel about it. The very first question, this was a heavy hitter. It says, how to enjoy being single without lonely. Let me hear you guys. Give me some feedback. I'm still seeing people come in. Make sure you guys share the live. Make sure y'all share, let other people see what's going on, because I want us to talk. We gotta talk. I want to see, how do you enjoy being single without being lonely? Come on, talk to me. Let me hear you. Let me see what your feedback is. Let me see how you feel about that. What is your viewpoint on being single and not letting loneliness creep in? Because that's a tough one. That's Jenny says you gotta keep busy and eat. That's crazy. At the end of the day, then you're gonna look like a pot-tot. That's not. We don't want nobody to look like no pot-tot. That's not what we want. So come on, give me something else. How do you enjoy being single without being lonely? Let me hear you guys. Talk to me. Jake He, Joshua says to being content in everything. That is a good one. Keta, of course, you know. Keta is all about eating food. That's what she loves to do. She loves to do that. Journey says learn. Oh snap, this ain't going fast. Journey says learn to love yourself. Learn to love yourself, who God made you to be. We tend to try and find happiness in a relationship. That is crazy. That's good. That's very true. What Kevin said, well, I was at the boys every day. Kevin is so funny. Kevin, you're hilarious. Kevin, when you was during your single days, you used to use us. Now you don't care for us anymore, right? That's exactly what it is. But we just gonna keep on going into it. So here's the thing. In our human nature, we want somebody. We want somebody. Even in the beginning of time, in Genesis chapter 2, verses 18, God saw that Adam could not live alone. God automatically said that. This is the very first man on this earth, and God saw that Adam could not live alone. And I could almost assume that it would be vice versa. If it was a woman that he created first, it would have been that he would have saw that woman, which was, let's say, Eve would not have been able to live alone. It's already in our desire for us to want people. It's innate for us. You know what I mean? That's exactly what is going to happen automatically once we get into this age where we feel as if, we want to share our lives with somebody or whatever. Innately, we're going to want to share that with somebody, right? That's offered. That's number one that I want you to understand. But one thing that we need to understand is that we cannot awaken something until it's time. If we go into Songs of Solomon, I hope you guys have y'all Bibles. Make sure y'all go to have y'all Bibles. Songs of Solomon. Go to Songs of Solomon right now. Songs of Solomon, Songs of Songs. If you read verses 2 and 7, if you read chapter 2 verse 7, if you read chapter 3 verses 5, if you read chapter 8 verses 4, all of those verses say the same thing, and it's talking to young women. It's saying, do not awaken or stir up love until the proper time. There is going to be a time for everything. It tells us that in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verses 1 through 8. How is this season for everything? There is going to be a time for everything. So right now, while we are in the space of being single, there is a reason why God wants us to be single. It's not as if like it's not as if this is something that you're doing on your own. We have to remember that God is the conductor of our life. He's the one who is mapping out everything that we do, the way that we live, the way that whatever thing that we're doing in our lives, God has mapped that out for us, right? So understand that at this current moment, that while we're single, it is not the time for us to be trying to figure out how we need to find somebody else. It's our time to be selfish. And selfish in the sense that I'm going to try and be the best version of myself for me. Let me see what I need to fix for me to be the best version of myself. Like, what do I want to achieve? What do I want to succeed at for myself? Like, what do I want to accomplish for myself? Like, this is your moment. Like, while you are by yourself, like there's no reason for you to try and make yourself be so clouded in thinking about other people to where you are devaluing who you are. You are a perfect person. You are an amazing person. You are a masterpiece. So while you are single, try to be the best version version of you yourself as a masterpiece right now. Because this is your time. Because at some point in time, when that boyfriend comes in, when that girlfriend comes in, when that husband comes in, when that wife comes in, when those kids come in, you can't do as much as you want to do for yourself anymore. Because now you have other responsibilities. So at this moment, while you have this opportunity to be single and you are in your own space doing your own thing, your objective is to make sure that you are doing the best that you can possibly be for yourself. This is your moment. Don't let nobody make you feel as if it's a terrible thing for you to try and be the best version of yourself. Don't let nobody make you think it's a terrible thing that you are by yourself right now. Let them understand that God is molding you who you need to be for when that person come and find you. You will be great. You will be where you need to be. You will be amazing. So that is something that we need to make sure that we avoid at all costs, to not allow loneliness make us forget that at this current moment, while we are by ourselves, that this moment is for us to push forward and make sure that we are the best version of ourselves. So don't ever allow loneliness to creep in our minds. Like I said, I understand, because all of us gonna watch somebody. It was shown to us from the beginning. From the beginning, the very beginning, that Adam was, when he was in the Garden of Eden, it said that, he can't be alone. He got to have somebody. But then at the time, as we grow on in the faith, we understand there's a season for everything. We cannot awaken something until it's ready. Maybe we're just not ready. Maybe we're just not ready. We don't know. So we're going to make sure that we not allow loneliness to creep in and make us feel as if, and make us forget what we should be doing for ourselves individually, because this is our selfish moment. This is our selfish moment. Keta said, hey, Future Babe, just so you know, I'm being selfish right now, fixing myself. Ha! For me and for you, that is crazy. That is crazy. All right, we're going to move on. All right? That's a good one. That's a good one. All right, so our second question right now, right? It says, what are some things we should work on while we are single? That's good. That's good. Let me see how you guys feeling about that. What are some things that we should work on while we are single? Let me hear you guys. I am sitting at home lonely but happy. Huh? See, yeah, go ahead. What do you think?
I think the first of all, if your relationship with God is not what it's supposed to be, I think that's your first priority.
That's good.
You need to fix your relationship with God. Get your relationship with God to be very authentic. I think that's number one. Number two, you need to work on your finance.
That Yo-Yo said that too. Yo-Yo said learning how to save. Yes.
You can't be a broke chick and you want a man. Because you cannot depend on a man to take care of you.
She preaching. You can't be broke.
So you have to have,
y'all dumb.
You have to get your money on point. That's what I think. And number three, I think you need to know who you are. Know your self-worth. Because you're going to you're just going to settle for anything. Anybody that comes in your face and tell you, I love you, because of the fact that you don't have no confidence in yourself, you just going to fall for any and anybody. That's the three things I think that you definitely need to fix.
That is good. That is good. That is good. So first of all, Yo-Yo said no more online shopping. Somebody said patience. Yes. Let us get into it. First of all, the first thing that you got to make sure that you work on, like Jessica said, you need to make sure that your relationship with God is on point. Because far too many times, this is why we're so okay with being unequally yoked as Christians. Because our relationship with God is not where it needs to be. So because it's not where it needs to be, we're okay with taking whoever. So from the beginning, if my relationship with God is where it needs to be, the minute, especially, let's say as a young woman, if my relationship was where it needs to be, it doesn't matter what guy comes my way. It doesn't matter what he can bring to the table. If that man cannot lead you spiritually, offer be like, sorry, I can't help you. I can't help you. Same thing with a man. If he no matter what that lady is bringing to the table, if spiritually she cannot be able to be with him to where they can nurture each other in the faith, if God is not the foundation, I can't help her. I can't help her. So like truly, that's why the first thing while we're single, we need to make sure that we are working on ourselves or spiritually. Secondly, we need to make sure we work on our self-control. And let me tell you something. Self-control goes in a whole lot of different ways. Not only in the space of when we're thinking about self-control, not only in the space of our flesh, because clearly you need to work on your self-control off rip. We need to make sure, it even says in Titus 2 verse 6, it's talking to the young men, how the young men need to make sure that they work on their self-control earnestly. And let me tell you something, because sometimes I know preachers don't want to they don't want to go ahead and put us young men on blast. But us young men, we need to make sure that we put our self-control on point. Because at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, yeah, a woman can actually, entice you in that way or whatever. But if you as a young man, if you are making sure that you are leading the relationship as you should, no matter how much your dumb is going to want to go there, you are going to lead her and make sure she don't want to go there. And that is supposed to be on the young man. Todd, this ain't no women thing. When it comes to us being weak in the flesh going into that direction, it's a man thing. Man, if you're going to lead your wife to the cross, lead her to the cross. So we need to make sure that we have our self-control on point. But that's even beyond that point. Because here's where patience comes in. Patience and self-control comes in the same space. Because somebody said we need to work on patience. We need to make sure that we are working on patience, because at the end of the day, you are going to you are inviting somebody into your space that you do not know. You have this aura. When we're single, we have this aura that we are in our own bubble. We are in our own space. So now you are going to invite somebody into your space. This person might not know exactly how you maneuver. This person don't know how you react to certain things. This person does not know anything about you, what is going to push your buttons, what nags you, all these different things. There is no way that you can get upset automatically if when this person comes in, they do something that throws you off. That person don't know you yet. You got to give that person space to understand who you are as an individual. You cannot hold this person to this high standard when they've yet to really have access to getting to know you in that space, to where to make sure that they don't do things to tick you off, do things that are going to make you get upset, do things that are going to make you look at them a certain way. You got to give people the space to get there. And that is why we need to develop patience prior to getting into a relationship. That way we understand that as the person is going to keep on moving forward, like me and this person now, we're going to learn each other. We're going to make sure that we understand each other. We're going to make sure that we are growing with each other in so many different ways. And that's why even in terms of self-control, we're going to make sure that we don't cross any boundaries that's going to make us fall. We're going to make sure that we don't do anything that is going to make us do anything that's contrary to the word of God. And that's why we need those things. One of the other things, we need to practice selflessness. Selflessness in the sense, because when you are single, you could be selfish. Now that you're in a relationship, you have to be selfless. And selfless in the sense that now, because this person is in my space, I got to be able to know how to share. I got to be able to know how to let this person be in my space and not mess up my aura. Selflessness is so hard. Selflessness is so tough. Selflessness is such a difficult thing. We need to be selfless. We need to be selfless. This is Christianity. Whole Christianity, we've been supposed to be selfless from being Christians. But then when we get in a whole relationship, we need to make sure that we push selflessness. Because now it's not all about you anymore. And no matter how much you would love for it to be all about you, it can't be all about you. So sometimes you're going to end up being on the phone when you don't want to. Sometimes you're going to end up sometimes that person is going to nag you when you don't even want to be nagged. Because I know all of us, because sometimes we be thinking like off rip. It's like, okay, babe, I'm not in the mood. Just leave me alone. Off rip. Like, how is that going to make your significant other feel? You got to know how to nurture each other in terms of speaking to each other, in terms of making sure that at the end of the day, selflessness is important. Selflessness is important. This is something that we are supposed to make sure that we are a part of. Selflessness. And let me tell you, this last one probably going to shock you. When we are single, we need to learn our love languages. We need to make sure that we learn what our love languages are. Yeah. We need to make sure, sit down, do you love physical touch? Because if you don't, when the next person comes up and you let them know, yo, I don't like being touched. Or do you love do you love words of affirmation? Let them know, like, yo, I love when people shower me with words. Like, I appreciate that when people shower me with words. Or do you like gifts? Or are you a gift person? Or like, let the person know, yo, I love gifts. This is what I love. This is all these different things. Do you love acts of service? Let them know, like, yo, I love acts of service, because you have to know these things about yourself, because you cannot have somebody who don't, like, you can't make this person, you don't even know what your love languages are, and then you want this person to figure out what your love languages are. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, how are you going to try automatically, like, now all of a sudden you want this person to figure you out when you ain't even figure your own self out? Like, it's not all of a sudden now, like, when you get in a relationship, you can't be, what are my love languages? Like, I don't even know, like, what I like. I don't even know if I like acts of service. I don't know if I like physical touch. I don't know if I like gifts. I don't know if I like this. All your friends, like, no, you got to try and see from now. Yeah. Figure out what it is that you like about, like, what would you like to receive from your significant other? And then at that point, you would give it back to let the individual know.
That is why it is important that you know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you deserve and for yourself. That is why, like I said, you may be a chick that you want, let me say this, with knowing yourself and having patience.
Yeah.
You know you could drive a Lexus. Mm-hmm. You settle for a Toyota.
Yeah. You good.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that if a man comes to you, you're not accepting any kind of garbage.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? You a girl who likes flowers. And then here comes a dude, because he's telling you he loves you, and he's not showering you like you're supposed to be showered.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to settle for anything.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know yourself. That's why it is very important to know yourself, know your standards, know what you want in a relationship before you even get into one.
That's good. That's really good. Yo said, another one is acknowledging the little things. Example, me getting my hair done. Of course, like, you got to make sure, like, I mean, especially as a guy, I think this is, of course, guys love this to some degree, but as a guy, you need to make sure that you are aware of the things that make your girl happy. Like, you have to make sure that you do the things that make your girl happy, because at the end of the day, sometimes if you know, if he ain't making you happy in this, if you're not making her happy in that area, and then somebody else comes in and try to fill those gaps, we end up seeing we see what usually happens. But we need to make sure that we are aware. Like, you have to study your person, but then that's why and this is why she said what Jessica said is so important. Self-love is very, very important. We need to make sure that we love ourselves. That way, when we see somebody, if somebody is not giving us what we feel as if we require, then we out. And then we go to our different space. We go to we find somebody else, because at the end of the day, no matter what it is, who tells you what, each and every one of us are kings and queens, and we supposed to be treated as such. And if anybody is not treating us in that level, in terms of a king or of a queen, and then they have to go, because we're not peasants, we're not princes, we're not princesses, we are kings and queens, and whoever is coming into our space to be a part of our aura, they need to make sure that they understand that we are kings and queens as such, and we're supposed to get that treatment. And that's exactly what it should be. So that was good. That was really, really good. All right, so we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. Oh, this is an interesting one. Let me hear you guys. Let me hear you guys. How you guys feel? Do you guys think that confessions make a relationship stronger? Let me hear you guys. Do you guys feel as if confessions make a relationship stronger? Like, you actually tell somebody about your past. Like, do we guys feel as if this makes our relationship stronger? Do you guys feel as if it makes the relationship weaker? Like, how do you guys, like, especially because obviously we're in singleness now, and then now it gets to the point where you're starting to speak to somebody. Should you be vulnerable to let them know exactly what has happened to you, or some of the things that you have done in the past? Like, I see Journey said it depends. Marilyn says yes. Okay, all right. Marilyn, okay. Yo-Yo says yes. All right. Journey says we. Okay, we. I don't know. Maybe I said something wrong. I don't know.
You're supposed to. You know why? Because at the end of the day, that situation that happened in your past is going to role play inside your relationship. Something of
My dog Webb says absolutely. Okay.
Something would happen in the past. Something similar is going to happen in your relationship. And then it's going to bring back that same feeling. And then your man is going to be like, but what did I say? What did I do? But you never told him what you went through. Or you never told him this is what happened. And then he's looking puzzled. So that's why you are supposed to tell your partner every bit of detail that you went through. Because like I said, something is going to be played. A little thing from whatever happened in your past. And then you all want to explode, and he don't understand why. This is why we have to speak.
All right, Marilyn says she told her boyfriend everything about her past, and it has made her closer. Love not saying, let me join this. Hey, keep commenting, bro. Let me tell you something. Here's the thing about why this is why sometimes maybe I can't voice note and I have a lot to say. You have a lot to say. All right, so here's the thing when it comes to confessions, and this is why I think maybe what happens is we get in relationships so quick, because we're still talking about singleness here, because some of us get into relationships and then that's when we want to, tell the person X, Y, and Z or whatever the case may be, which is okay. But then this is why singleness, when we're in this space of singleness, getting to know each other before we get into a relationship, we need to see from the beginning, is there going to be any space for us to be able to be vulnerable with each other? Because, of course, while you're being single, you are going to have certain communications, certain conversations about, talking to some people. You're going to have some type of conversations with them to where you can see exactly, like, can I be vulnerable to them and can I not be vulnerable to them? Like I said, with us, we get into relationships so fast, and then we go in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. By that time, oh my gosh, I didn't tell this person my life. It's time for me. I can't even, and now you want to leave because you see it's not working, but then at the end of the day, you already wasted time in the relationship. This is why while we are in our space of singleness, I am going to discern and see, are you valuable enough to me to where I can be vulnerable to you? Because if you have not shown me that I can be vulnerable to you, I got a buck. Because at the end of the day, if I can't be vulnerable to you, then it's almost like I'm going to be walking on eggshells. Right. And you do not want to get into a relationship with somebody where you feel as if you're walking on eggshells, or you're in this space where you trying to figure out, can I be vulnerable? Can I say what I went through? Because if you ever feel as if the person you are possibly going to get into a relationship with will end up ridiculing you for your past, that person is not for you. You don't even need to talk to that individual, because at the end of the day, that person should be able to love you through your scars, and you should be able to see a glimpse of that in the space of before you get into the relationship. You should be able to see that in that space of getting to there. Like while you are getting to that point of being in a relationship, you got to be able to see, like, yo, I definitely can see this person can be my safe haven. I can come to this person and I can actually speak to them. I can actually tell them everything that I'm going through. I can actually say this and they're not going to look at me in any different way, because that needs to be seen before you get into a relationship. Because if you get into a relationship, you sweating this person love you, then you drop a bombshell on them, and then off rip they're like, yo, what the heck? Like, oh, this is crazy. And then now it's like, whoa, I thought you loved me. Like, I thought you cared for me. But then that's the thing, you already in the relationship. If fool's gold, you automatically assume, because you're in a relationship, that is going to come with relationship perks. But then at the end of the day, you never discern to see if that person gave you the space to be vulnerable. And that is why you need to make sure you discern. That's why, because if it gets to the point, if we're in a relationship and we're obviously, like I said, we're in singleness. If we see that you sitting down thinking to this person, thinking, can I actually be vulnerable? And you sit down and say, it depends. Yo, if it depends, that is something that you need to talk about. That is something that you need to make sure that you fix before you get into that relationship. There is no way you can go into a relationship and you have to question if you can be vulnerable to your partner. Like, because that's supposed to be if it's one person you're supposed to be vulnerable to, it should be your partner. It should be your significant other. And if it gets to the point where it depends on if that person is worth you being, like, you're questioning if you can be vulnerable to them, you might want to make sure you pay attention, all right? Pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. Let me see how long we got, because we ain't going to be here that long. The type of speaker dude is going to hate because he always helping girls look at certain guys different. Nah, we being as authentic, bro. We being as authentic as we possibly can be right now, for real, for real. We talking about from all areas, for real, for real. All right, so let us move on. I'm about to throw a curveball at y'all, for real. Because here this thing go, right? It says, number 4, it says, what are the best characteristics, features of a Christian man, women before marriage? I'm going to tell you 2 things. I'm going to keep it real brief. But the first one going to be brief. The second one going to be kind of lengthy. But I'm going to put you up on game. So the first one, obviously, like Jessica was talking about earlier, one of the best features, obviously, is a God-fearing woman and a God-fearing man. Off rip, like, that should definitely be the push for when we're looking for somebody who we're going to be, don't rush me, love, now. I'm taking my time. Like, when it comes to us looking for a person, a significant other in a guy and a woman, they got to be God-centric, right? They got to be God-centric. Ephesians chapter 5, even though Ephesians chapter 5 says husband and wife, where it talks about how man is supposed to love his wife the way Christ loved the church, and then woman is supposed to submit to her husband the way that the church submits to Christ, even though it says husband and wife. Guys, as when we read the scriptures, there was no space that was given for boyfriend and girlfriend. We created that. There was no space for all of that stuff. We the one who created that. What does that mean? That means from the jump that before I even want to even see something further in you, I have to be able to see slight qualities that will translate if we get married. Slight. I'm not talking about, immediately you got to see your husband. That's not what I'm saying. But then you as a girl, when you're looking at this guy, you need to see what is his love for Jesus like. Like, because if the way that he loves Jesus is the way that he is going to love you. The same way you see he going all out for Jesus is the same way one day it will translate to him loving you. Even if he don't love you right now because y'all just connecting with each other, you can see that, yo, if this man loves God this way, he is one day going to love me the same way. Vice versa, when it comes to us as young men, looking at a woman, even before you even try to figure out what a relationship is with her, you got to see that the same way, see how her submission to Jesus is. Like, what is her submission to God? Like, how does she submit to God? Like, if she what is it? Because here's the thing. If she's having a struggle with submitting to God, oh boy, it's going to be hard for you to try and lead her because she ain't even following the person who's her master. So it's going to be hard for her to sit down and listen to you, everything that you tell her to do. She's going to just be embracing. She's going to want to do her own thing because she's been always doing her own thing, even when it comes to her following Jesus. So that's going to be the same. These people show these glimpses even before we get into relationships, guys. Before we get into relationships, we see these things with people. They show us these things bold in our face. They show it to us. We can't act as if we're blind. We have to make sure that we can see these things happen. Like I said, the same way, because we see what the Ephesians 5 said. Christ died for the church. And that's the same way when it comes to God. A guy we're supposed to want to die for our female. You gotta stay. If you see this man, like literally, he ready to blow you off for anything. He ain't even on your run for anything. Whatever it is, he just trying to you going through it. He not even paying attention to you. Like, come on, you gotta pay attention to these things. The girl, you telling her something, she ain't even like, I'm gonna do my own thing anyway. This and that and third. Like, mind you, it's not as if like you telling her what to do. You just wanted to give advice and see how she's gonna take it. But off rip, she already dismissed what you said. Come on, pay attention. But then even though And this is what I want you guys to understand, that even if that person is God-centric, you still have to make sure, even if they're God-centric, make sure that you are compatible with this person. Listen to me. Come here. Every person who loves God, that does not mean they are for you. Every guy that you meet, and if he loves God, and he is a God-fearing man, that does not mean he's supposed to, he's for you. Because he might not know your love languages. He still might not be compatible with you. He still might make you smile. He still might not make you happy. So at the end of the day, he could love God all he wants. If he is not nurturing you the way he should, he's not for you.
Right.
Because he could love God all he wants. I don't care what he do. This man could preach a great sermon. He could cast out demons. He could do all of these things. Says if he is not doing what he need to do for you to make you happy, if he ain't putting them butterflies in your stomach, if he's not making you feel special the way he's supposed to make you feel special, he is not for you.
Yep. Exactly.
It doesn't matter. Not because the person is a God-centric person, that means automatically that person is going to be your husband. Vice versa for a woman. It does not, vice versa for a God. It does not matter if that girl right there, she's an amazing worship leader. She's an amazing person. Like her submission to God is so amazing. Yo, if y'all not compatible, if you guys are not, if y'all can't hold conversation, if y'all communication sucks, if when you guys are together, there are no fireworks, you don't feel nothing, that person is not for you.
Exactly.
God-centric is supposed to be first. Off rip, we know that.
Yeah.
But then, if me and that person, we ain't compatible, we ain't, we can't kick it, we can't vibe, like we can't talk, like we not having no good conversation, it's not a vibe, like, nah.
That's why I said you have to know your self-worth.
Exactly.
If you don't, you're going to fall for anything. Just because a man say, I love you, you're going to fall for that. And you're going to ignore all the red flags.
Gaia said, that girl said, "Cuz, I got to give you diarrhea and all. That's how much your stomach got to be turning." I feel you. That's how crazy it got to be. That's how deep the love got to be.
Yeah.
That's legit how deep the love got to be. It got to be that amazing, people. Like, it legit has to be that amazing. That's crazy, God. I ain't gonna lie. If somebody giving you diarrhea, you need to get that checked out, though. I don't know. That's a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So we gonna move on. We gonna move on. All right. So this is a question that was directed to the women, the young women, and very, very interesting. Should women go out their way to meet their husband? I mean, we in the 21st century, so that's the thing that people been pushing lately. Like, women should be able to shoot their shot. Like, and they're like, mind you, while you being single, you see a young brother that you attracted to, and you feeling as if, like, maybe he not getting the signs. Like, you be laughing at his jokes all extra. Like, when you shaking his hand, you gave him a little touch a little longer than others. You feel me? Like, you doing what you gotta do, all that stuff, but he's still not getting it. Hey, let me tell you something. And oh no, I ain't never see anywhere inside the scripture that it says that the young women went to go pursue the young man. I ain't never see that anywhere. And let me tell you why. Because Yo-Yo just mentioned that verse. In Proverbs 18 verse 22, what it says? It says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. Because at the end of the day, it is the man's job to make sure that he is going to find the wife. Because at the end of the day, women, and this is why it is important that as a woman, you know your worth and you understand. Because here is the thing. God already knows what you need. It's not as if God has no idea what you need. God already knows what you need. Mm-hmm. He already knows what you need. Making sure that at the end of the day, like Rebecca, like let's say for example, when they made Isaac go find Rebecca, Rebecca had no idea that Isaac was going to that Abraham's servant was going to show up at that well. Rebecca had no idea. But the servant already prayed to God and said, God, I pray that you ordain this woman to do exactly what needs to be done in order for me to see that she is going to be Isaac's wife. So at the end of the day, it's not as if Rebecca had to make any preparation in order for her to be able to be seen by the servant. Whatever it is that Rebecca was going to do, it already showed that she was already ordained to be Isaac's wife, because she was already a wife when he found her. Like, it's not as if she had to fix herself up. She was already a wife the minute that servant went to go and see him. When she got to the well, she came to the well. Yo, she wanted this. She's the exact same thing that the servant prayed for Rebecca to do. That is exactly what she did. This is why that as a woman, you just keep working on yourself. You just keep doing what you need to do for yourself. Because at the end of the day, when you are a wife, it is going to scream wife at somebody. It doesn't matter who it is, but that guy who's supposed to be your husband, he will see you and he will see wife all over you. If you giving him the signs, whatever, and he ain't seen it, that's on him. His loss at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The person who is going to be your husband, he will see husband on you. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what past you have. It doesn't matter what it is that you have done. He will see you. Ain't no space for no woman to be going and be trying to make herself available and go inside the man inbox and say, yo, I've been trying to this and that, yada, yada. Yo, I've been trying to get your attention. What's going on? This and that and the third. Oh, no. At the end of the day, if he is, whatever little signs you giving him, that's on you. Right. But if he ain't catch on nothing and you moved on and you do what you had to do and you got yourself a new bae and then he want to come late, tell him, sorry, boss, when I was giving you little signs, you just weren't paying attention. Because at the end of the day, there is no space for no woman to be out here shooting her shot trying to find a husband. Let that man. No. The man is supposed to come and find you. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. Do not make this world make us feel as if it's okay for us to be able, like women are supposed to be in this space to where they're supposed to just be shooting out their shots. Nah, that's not the move. That's not the move. Let that man find you. Let that man find. You know what? Stop making it easy for these young men. Let that man put in work for him to show you that he deserves your attention. Exactly. Let that man put in work to show you that he's supposed to be putting in work for him to get you. It's not, we can't make it easy out here for them. Nah, we got to make them show as if like they are worth it. They are willing to do what they need to do. When Jacob wanted Rachel and he ended up getting Leah, because he ended up getting Leah, the father tricked him and made him get Leah first. He ended up he worked 7 years already to get Leah, but he wanted Rachel. You know what Jacob did? Jacob worked another 7 years for him to make sure that he was going to get Rachel, because you know why? He wanted Rachel and he wanted to show Rachel, this is how much I want you. This is the distance I'm willing to go for you. So you better make sure that that young man go that distance to show you that he deserves you. Right. Because he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And if he's going to make sure that he goes that extra mile, he's going to show you that you're a good thing. And we need to understand that. Definitely need to understand that. All right, so we get into the end. We got 2 more questions and then we out. 2 more questions and then we out. It says, what is the hardest part about singleness? Come on. Let me see what you got. Because, I mean, it could possibly be almost like the first question that we asked. Because, but it was asking about loneliness. So tell me, what is the hardest part about singleness to you guys? What you guys feel as if would be the hardest part? What is the hardest part? It can be 5. It can be 5. Nah. We got 2 more. We got 2 more. 2 more. We out of here. 2 more. We out of here. You got to keep the people itching, because you know next week then it's gonna be actually it's gonna be people talking who actually in a relationship. So that's gonna be even. Whew, them questions gonna be even more heavy hitters, to be honest. I ain't gonna lie to you.
But gonna break up.
Journey said, seeing all your friends booed up. Yeah, that especially with social media, that's fact. Social media make that thing tough.
Seeing all your friends booed up, seeing all your people, seeing people you went to school with, got married, have babies. I think the main thing is the spirit of loneliness.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
That's good. That's good. Anybody? Who else? Who else? People don't like being lonely in the singleness. Yeah, like we talked about that earlier. For sure. That is definitely one of the things. Like, you know, the world play a role in that. You feel me? Because, like, you know, people they throw their relationships on social media, and then you have even the celebrities, what they got going on or whatever. And I feel like this is a question that I hope next week, like, you guys get into that. Yeah. Somebody said the Christmas pajama pictures.
No, I think it's the Valentine's Day is coming.
Valentine's too. The holidays be, yeah. Like, cause somebody said the Christmas pajama pictures, yeah. Like Valentine's Day, like the holidays be making it tough because everybody be like, you see everybody doing all these stuff, and you're like, shoot, I wish I was, you know, doing what I had to do or whatever, or experiencing that. It is tough. Social media makes it hard to enjoy singleness because, like I told you, naturally in the beginning, we want to have people. Like that's what it is. So, like, people, like, literally, you know, we want to have people. So when we see, you know, it's at the vacations, yeah, you seeing all these stuff on social media, it's like, yo, like, these things, they really make you want to be a part of it. You feel me? So social media definitely plays a role. Isaac says, can guys get Valentine's Day gift too?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they can, but then Isaac, I don't know. That's a whole different thing, to be honest.
It doesn't have to be the chocolate and the rose. That's a girl thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like females can do like a cologne, maybe you know,
Isaac.
do like a picnic, something.
Isaac want.
So,
He want
I
to
mean,
give.
Journey, you could do a
Journey,
cologne.
Journey. I hope you see what
Yeah.
Isaac said. Isaac said he want to give. That's basically what he's saying.
I think a
But
man should get gifts too in Valentine's Day. If I had a man, I would have showered him too because he deserves the love too.
But see, here's the thing, because Isaac legit come ask this crazy question when it comes to God. You know what, Isaac? I'm gonna save that question for next week because you're in the relationship. You'll be able to answer that a lot more clearer, and we'll hear your stance, and we'll see how you feel about that, and then we would definitely go from there. Like we'll love the feedback and see how it is. But you know, another thing that makes singleness hard, especially and this is why we need to be careful not jumping in from relationship to relationship when we experience relationships before. When we experience relationships before, the attachments that happen, the soul ties that happen. If we being honest, we being blunt here. The soul ties that happen when it comes to fornication, all that stuff, all of these things, they drain us. They make us. It makes us very, very. It makes it difficult for us to be able to detach from certain people, detach from certain things. So when we get by ourselves, all of a sudden it's almost as if like we're allowing past emotions to hold us back, and that's why it's very difficult or we should be careful, like jumping from this relationship. You know what I mean? Like we need to make sure that we're. That's why in singleness we need to make sure that we're focused. We need to make sure that we are focused, not going to throw ourselves at anybody. You know what I mean? Like we just need to make sure we're focused in that regard. So that is very, very interesting. And the last question. This is very, very interesting. It says, is it wrong or not okay to not want a relationship or pursue a marriage because of past things seen or heard? Very, very interesting. And here is my stance, guys. Because we go to these marriages, like when you go into these, when you're in the right relationship, it is okay. You go into these weddings, and then you go, or you talk to these married couples, or you talk to these relationships, or whatever the case may be, And then all they sit down, because here's the thing. Because social media flosses the good things. And then people will be like, you know what, you got to make sure you got to pay attention to the bad, whatever. And you go to the weddings and all these different things, and all they say is like, oh my gosh, this is such a hard thing. This is such a difficult thing, yada, 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 all this stuff. And like, you're going to have to be putting in work and blah, blah, blah. But this is my aspect in how I look at relationships and how I look at marriages. I believe that everything that God gives us is good, regardless of how hard it is. It doesn't matter how difficult it may be. Like salvation, people want to scream with how hard it is. It is great. It's amazing because we experience God in a whole new way. Like when it comes to ministry is so tough. Like people be like, oh my gosh, it's such a hard thing to do because there's so much things, people leading you, people depending on you, this and that, all that stuff. But it's amazing because at the end of the day, God has blessed us to be able to, he has entrusted us to carry his mantle and to be a part of his kingdom plan on this earth. That is amazing. The same thing when it comes to marriages and relationships. Everything that you are going to put in work for is going to be hard. Of course, it's going to be time consuming. It's going to make you be tired. All of these different things. But at the end of the day, it is good. It doesn't matter what people tell you. It doesn't matter what people say to you. It doesn't matter what is their personal experiences. Understand that you as an individual, you believe in God. So if you believe in God, that means whatever it is that God is going to destine you for, it will be good. It doesn't matter who is going to be a part of it. It doesn't matter what is going to come of it. But at the end of the day, God is going to make it good. Does that mean hardships will not come? I would be a liar to tell you that, because even the Bible tells us while we're saved that we're going to go through afflictions. We're going to go through sufferings. We're going to go through all of these different things. But does that mean that we put away salvation? No, it does not. Because at the end of the day, there is nothing that compares to experience God in the fullness of his capacity. And you can only get that with being a saved believer. So at the end of the day, you would say, I don't care what it is. Like they said, give me Jesus, because Jesus is going to be great at the end of the day. So same thing when it comes to marriages, same thing when it comes to relationships, because we understand that these things come from above, that God was the one who ordained this in the first place. So since God ordained it in the first place, it doesn't matter how hard it is. It doesn't matter what arguments we have. It doesn't matter what type of disagreements that may arrive. At the end of the day, because this is God ordained, it is going to be good. When you sitting down with your relationship, when it is Holy Spirit driven, when you are making sure that you and the same individual, y'all on the same frequency, y'all are in the same space spiritually, you don't sit down and think about no divorce, because you know that ain't going to happen to you, because you know that God is in the center. So that means it will be good. When you sit down and you have the two people on the same frequency, it doesn't matter what happens. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes when we do break up, it's because initially we didn't pay attention to what was going on. Right. We didn't pay attention to some of those things that we saw was going to arrive in the beginning. All the way as time went by, we didn't pay attention. We just didn't pay attention, and that's okay. But then at the end of the day, if we make sure that once we get serious and we know that we're aiming for marriage, because as believers, what I want you to understand, we don't date just to date. We don't date just to date. That's not what we do. We make sure, and obviously, you have to get to a certain spiritual maturity for this to happen. Listen to me. A certain spiritual maturity for this to happen. Literally. Because obviously when we were spiritually immature, we felt as if it was okay to just come out, just leave and break up and get out of relationships and this and that and the third, or whatever the case may be. But the more that you grow, you understand that you make sure that when you get in the relationship, you need to see marriage automatically. Don't let people make you think that, oh, you crazy because you're thinking too fast. Nah. We don't have time to waste anymore. We don't have time to be playing around with relationships. We need to make sure that we see, like, if it's not marriage, if I don't see the marriage, and this is why I said we need to take our time when we in our singleness, when we getting to know the individual, because us talking and sitting down and having conversation in our singleness, that does not automatically equate for us mean that we need to get into a relationship. We need to make sure that we are sitting down understanding each other, learning each other, making sure we see what ticks and what doesn't tick in all of these different things. And then we make sure and we see if it's worth it. And then we get in a relationship and then we're building for marriage. Because at the end of the day, you're not building to be your boyfriend and girlfriend. And that's why sometimes you mess around and you be in a boyfriend, girlfriend for 5-10 years. Because at the end of the day, y'all was never building for something for it to begin with. Y'all sitting down having conversation. We having baby conversation the whole time. All we doing is sitting down talking about relationship stuff. All we do is talk about how is your day. All we doing is talking about what you doing. All we doing is talking about what you did today. All we doing is talking about like what are you going to do tomorrow. All we doing is talking about how was work. That's all we do. But we need to sit down but once we get into the relationship, after you leave singleness, you need to make sure you better get inside them conversations. You better start talking about, hey, what's our future plans? Like, what are our goals? Like, where are we going to? Like, what are we supposed to be building with each other? We need to make sure, obviously, I ain't tell you go too far now. I ain't tell you go ahead and sign a house with the individual or anything like that. But you need to make sure that now, like, while you are in the relationship, the conversation starts to mature. Because if there is no maturity in the conversation, there's never going to be maturity in the relationship. If you're going to always have them baby conversations, the relationship will always be baby. I'm going to let you know right now. If you're not trying to have mature conversations within the relationship, your relationship is going to be a baby. You're going to be in a baby relationship, and it's going to be your fault because you're not trying to have no person. You're not trying to build to have a legitimate conversation. All right? This was dope. This is cool. This is cool. I tell my boyfriend birth certificate. He's no longer. Wow, that's crazy. She's gonna tear her boyfriend's. She said she's gonna tear her boyfriend's birth certificate. This was great. This was cool. I mean, Love 9. I know you told me that you wanted to. I know you say you wanted to hop. Let's talk about saving together. All that stuff. Yeah, you gotta talk about finances, all that different stuff. I mean, mind you, like I said, I ain't gonna tell you go in your relationship and open up an account together. I'm about to do something, but you can talk about finances, talk about all these different things, talk about how y'all can make sure that y'all interact with each other, like just pushing each other in terms of growing, because you want to grow with that individual, bro. Obviously, when you get in, I feel as if next week, God willing, the people will talk about that in a bigger vacuum when they get into their the relationship conversations or stuff like that. But you have to make sure that you got to see that this person is, this is the person that y'all going to be growing with each other. You feel me? Like in every way. Y'all going to grow spiritually together. Y'all going to grow economically with each other. Y'all got to grow emotionally with each other, socially with each other. Hey, y'all got to make sure that the person that y'all with, that person that you're eventually going to be with, they make sure that person stimulates your mind. Make sure that person is going to make you smarter. Make sure that person is going to make you, it's just going to push you in everything. Like because that's what the standard needs to be. Why? Before you get into the relationship. That is the standard. That is what you need to do before you get into a relationship. Like, this person is going to build me, and I'm going to keep on moving forward. All right. So if there's no other questions, like I said, this is going to be dope. Every other week, it's going to be Facebook. Every other week, it's going to be Instagram. So if today is Facebook, next week Tuesday is Instagram, and I think it's going to be dope. And yeah, like this was dope. I hope we all learned from each other. I hope we really understood each other. One key point: if your partner, she said, if your partner, what she said, doesn't push you, then something is wrong. Yeah. I mean, like, that's next week. I feel as if they're gonna go deeper into the relationship. We're talking more so about singleness, like how we need to prepare ourselves and what we need to see and not see before we get into the relationship. But next week, for sure, we'll go ahead and get into it. All right, let's bow our heads and close our eyes for us to be able to pray, and then we will be out of here. I don't know if I avoid this question. It says some persons are unequally yoked with believers. How do you know the right one? I think we were talking about that earlier. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to I don't want to ignore that question. When it comes to being unequally yoked, even if you're equally yoked with a believer, at the end of the day, that person still needs to be compatible. You and that individual has to be able to focus with, like, you have to be in the same frequency. Like, does he make you laugh? Does he make you smile? Does he make you happy? All these different things. Like, he can love God all you want, but if he ain't doing that for you, yo, you got a buck. You feel me?
Right.
Like same vice versa with the female. Like, is she your safe haven? Like, can you come to her and she comforts you? Like, is she going to nurture you? All these different things. Because at the end of the day, like, they could love God all they want, but there's certain particular qualities that are very, very important in a relationship for it to be sustained. Yeah, you're going to say God is the center, all these different things. God is the foundation. And somebody can even tell you, like, yo, if we both love God, that means it's going to work. I mean, if that was the case, that means we could love anybody. That means we can marry anybody. Because at the end of the day, we need to make sure that you need to make sure that you and the individual are compatible. Your love languages still matter. The way how that person is going to treat you still matters. The way how that person is going to value you still matters. Yeah. So regardless of if that person loved God to the moon and back, cast out demons, all of that different stuff, the way how they treat you as an individual still matters at the end of the day. All right. So let us bow our heads and close our eyes for us to pray, and then we're out of here. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we glorify your name. We exalt you for who you are. We worship you. We magnify your name. We just ask you to continue to be the center of it all and everything that we do, God. Father, I just thank you for allowing this to be happen. Thank you for allowing it to be successful. And God, we just know that you're going to continue to nurture this, Father God, and make this amazing. You're going to continue to make this be the best version of what it needs to be. We glorify your name. We magnify you. We bind us with a cord that is unbreakable as we separate, God. Keep us safe. Keep us growing. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, guys. Peace.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss a single video or live stream, and share this video with a friend. Thanks again for watching.